Hi everybody, this is Michael, Hobbs' friend from camp, speaking, and just to very briefly touch on Renee's first story from Sakif, I believe was his friend's name. Unification of opposites, and for those of you that know this story, and I'm not going to provide context to this at all, I would say that the greatest crystallization of that was I remember Hobbs both as a man who was always impeccably and preemptively and with so much intent dressed, and also someone who never existed with pants on. So, moving on to my actual story, moving on to my actual story. Now, one thing I've come to believe or come to recognize through meeting all of you that I did not know when I knew Roger was he had a truly unbelievable ability to make people he cared about, and he cared about so many people, randomly the stars of their own plays. And in ways that were so irrational, and as Amber has coined and become one of my favorite terms, comfort in the obscure. And this is my story of that. So, as has been mentioned, I was a counselor in training, a CIT with Roger, when we were 17 years old, in the summer of 2005. And we visited camp, I believe 2 years after that, myself, Hobbs, and several of our friends, and had a great time seeing everybody and visiting all of our old friends. And we went out to dinner that night, and we did not have, there were several, I believe there were 5 of us. We did not have a place to sleep that night, so we said, oh, let's go look for hotels. And we, it was that day, so the typical stuff that we would go to was pretty expensive and a little far away, yada yada. And there was a 1-star hotel near New Milford, Connecticut, with open spaces that was quite cheap. So we thought, oh, let's do that. Let's book this 1-star hotel, because we were all middle-class white people and had no concept of what a 1-star hotel was. So we booked this 1-star hotel that was 7 miles away from New Milford, Connecticut, which is where we were. And 7 miles is, an easy walk, because we were 17 and or 19, and easy walk, no problem. So we were hanging out with people, we had a great time. We ended up thinking that we should probably, take the quick, let's say 15-20 minute walk to the hotel at around 11:30 at night. So fast forward to 1:45 in the morning, we have been walking through desolate serial killer woods for an hour and 15 minutes or thereabouts, and no one in sight. And I'm thinking, cool, we're gonna die. This is not fun at all. Finally, after quite the trek, and we haven't seen, we're like, are we going the wrong direction? Good Lord, we're never gonna, We get to what we believe is the hotel. There is not a single light on. There are 2 floors, of maybe a total of 6 rooms, and a small kiosk outside the front, of the type that you would see at the front of a national park. So we are knocking, and there's a little bell at the front of the kiosk. We're ringing on it. We're trying to make all kind of a fuss. Nobody. We're about to leave. We're like, what are we doing here? This is not good. A man walks out of one of the bottom rooms of the hotel with what I'm sure he would refer to as a wife beater, torn shorts of an underwear variety, stains, just looking real mean. Doesn't make contact with any of us. Walks out to the little kiosk, opens the door, keys it open, opens the door, walks inside. Nothing. So we ring the bell again, and he opens the front window. What the fuck do you want? We have a room. No, you don't. Go back and forth. You want me to check? Please do. So he finally, what's the name? It was under my name, Callahan. He looks at this. Fine, you're on here. I know what you kids want. You're gonna fuck up one of my rooms again. Get out of here. No, we really need a place to sleep. We're so sorry. This goes back and forth for another 5 minutes or so with this guy. He is not budging an inch. I'm trying to do my best here. Roger has not said anything. Suddenly, out of absolutely nowhere, Hobbs calmly puts his hand on my shoulder, presses me out of the way, looks at this man in the eyes and says, points at me, "Do you know who the fuck this is?" And proceeds to convince this strange, gross human being that I am the star of Spider-Man 3. And proceeds to recite to him Tobey Maguire's cinematic career. And convince this man I am that guy. I have no idea where he got this, where this came from, just out of absolute, and the rest of us are looking at Hobbs in awe. I mean, this is a narrative that only Roger Hobbs could put together with such, I've been this man's agent for, of course he was 50 in this analogy, which he could pull off. I've been this man's agent for 19 years since he was 10 years old. I'm like, no one's gonna believe I'm 31. Since he was the greatest actor, the guy believes it. Hook, line, and sinker. Oh my, Mr. Callahan, I am so sorry. I didn't recognize you. Of course, you're this person. Opens it up, gets the room, brings cots out forever. There are only 2 beds, there are 5 of us. Please, have my sincerest apologies. Hobbs, we walk into the room, none of us can contain ourselves. We can't speak. We're just half in awe and half if I speak, I'm going to pee on the ground because I'm going to be laughing so hard. Walk in, guy leaves. Hobbs just looks at all of us and goes, "You're welcome." Out, and just falls asleep. And no person I've ever met can make you feel like that's a Hobbs story, but everyone here has a moment where he made them feel like the leading man or woman or person, and that's a thing that is, for me, gonna stay with me forever. And what a good thing for the world that he was here to give us that.